and welcome to the part one of my Tesla widget and how to set up. Before we start, again, the requirements: you need an Android phone, you need Tasker, you need the plugin for Tesla, which is called Tasker plugin for Tesla, and you also need KWGT or Custom Widget Pro. It has to be the Pro license version, so all of those you have to pay for that in the Google Play Store. Now, assumptions here that you already understand Tasker. This is not going to be a tutorial for Tasker. I've been using Tasker for 4 years. I know it's, or more probably, it's very difficult to ramp up and to learn it at the beginning. So if you don't have a basic understanding, or actually a good understanding of Tasker, this might be daunting. Even though you might be able to follow this if you have some basic understanding and set it up. But Tasker is pretty daunting. If you don't understand the basics, make sure that you understand the basics at least of KWGT. It's also fairly, I wouldn't say complex, but it has its things that you need to understand and use it in order to make sure that you can, do this tutorial at least. This is only a setup guide, not a tutorial. Like I said, I'm not going to be teaching you about Tasker. I'm not an expert on Tasker. I'm not an expert on custom widgets, so don't expect perfection here. I'm just going to give you what I know and what I've learned through many YouTube videos and articles that I've read. And then the other one is, like I said, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. So if you have any suggestions, anything how to do it better, I'm going to ask you to share your opinions and your suggestions. Throughout the video, I'm going to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. If you know how to do it better, let me know, and maybe I can fix that in the widget. So the flow. First of all, the flow, how it works. So basically, you either have a profile, and the profile is doing something based on a state or time of the day or something like that, or it could be a task. And the task could be something that is not necessarily a profile, but let's say a task of, I want to honk, issue a honk on my car, or I want to turn the lights on, or, I want to do something like that. That could be a task, not necessarily a profile based on a state or time condition. And basically it goes into the plugin is going to get all the states. I usually get all the states. You can get, a minimized number of metrics that you want to get from the car. But if you want to get all the states of everything in the car, whether it's charging, whether the lights are on, the doors are open, things like that. So there's tons of those in the plugin. So you get those, and then you get all the state access, and then basically goes back to Tasker to do other things with that, right? So in this case, we need to go back to Tasker to set variables and set the custom widget variables also that are going to be able to be read by custom widgets, and maybe other things that you want to do and you want to add, right? So all those things, we're going to take a look at that later. And then the last thing is basically it's going to send it to custom widget, and obviously that can be read by the widget. So now let's talk a little bit about the widget and some of the things that we do here. So if we take a look at, first of all, the Tesla here, open app, basically that's going to open the app if you press on the in the Tesla logo. I'm sorry. Honk, I put it there on the name of my car, White Lion. Basically it's calling White Lion, so it honks. You can do whatever you want. So if you want to click there and do something else, that's the beauty about Tasker and about this widget, that if you know what you're doing, you can customize it. Flash lights. So if I want to flash it, let's say, I want to find my car at night or something like that, then I can click on that. And basically, we're going to see that later. I made a circle around here, and then it's an alpha transparency. So basically you don't see it, but it is an overlay pretty much that I can click there and it flashes the lights. Not charging on charging, it's going to turn into white and green depending on whether you're charging or not. Battery is your battery percentage. So, instead of knowing the miles, you know exactly your battery percentage that you have. And obviously, all of this is based on your last refresh, right? So, like I said, I do mine from 6 to 10 p.m. at night, from every 30 minutes. So you can change that to whatever you want. It doesn't use a lot of battery, but obviously that's very difficult to calculate depending on the phone that you have, depending on the apps that you're using. I use Tasker a lot for a lot of things, so it saves battery for me, but it all depends. I cannot tell you that this is draining my battery at all, but it all depends on what do you have. Open trunk, since I didn't want to have the full car here, so if I click there, which is basically at the door, it will open the trunk, and that's the furthest that I can go here in this widget. I assume that that was okay. If you want to use it for other things, then that's fine too. The manual refresh, so again, it's every 30 minutes. You see here 4 o'clock was the last time that I did it in this example here. But if I manually refresh and it's 4:11, then it would say there 4:11. That was the last update. Sentry on and off, that's basically all it is. It doesn't change. It's actually the text, not the icon. And then those two here, lock, that will change. It will open the lock, it will close the lock on the condition. And then the text, it would say locked on or unlock. If you press on lock, on the lock icon, basically you can lock the car. If you press on, actually, I'm sorry, if you press on the lock or the text, you can lock the car. If you press on the lock itself, it will unlock the car. And again, you can change that to whatever you want. This is one of the things that if somebody knows how I can do a toggle there, that it would do one or the other. I couldn't figure it out, and I got tired of figuring it out. So I basically, did it this way. But if anybody knows how to do it, that would be awesome. Then the last one here is the AC temperature, and I call it AC temperature determination, basically because if you press it, it's going to determine whether your car is hot or not, or if it's too cold, and it's going to go accordingly to that. It's going to either cool it or heat it. So you can do those two things. And again, this could all be customized by you. Obviously, if you live in somewhere like Canada, which is cold, or maybe in the South like me, which is hot, then you can customize that to your likings. The last thing here is this is the task reference, meaning these are the Tasker either, well, not profiles. I think these are tasks that are associated with this. So I created a task that it would do, the honking. I would create a task that it does the flashing of the light. So when I press that, basically it executes that task from Tasker, and obviously that's using the Tesla plugin. So it sends that information to the car and it flashes. Open the trunk the same way. I have a task for that would open the trunk. Manual refresh. I call this Tesla states MT. I even forgot what I mentioned MT, or what MT stands for. Monitoring, I don't know, I have no idea, but I forgot what it was. But anyway, I call it MT, and that basically is going to get all the states from the car, and it's going to refresh everything here. So the miles, the battery, the charging or not charging, and all that kind of stuff, right? Locked, and Sentry, and temperature inside the car. So all of those is going to update that. You can also do that, that you don't need to get all the states. For me, it was a lot easier. Maybe it takes longer. I'm not sure. I just got lazy and I didn't want to do it that way. But it's up to you. You can also change that if you play around with the plugin. And again, if you have any suggestions, just put it here in the comments and let me know. On and off doesn't have any tasker there, so that's from the states. And then these are, like I said, if you press here in the text here, I press there, it will lock the car. So they have Tesla lock doors and then Tesla open doors, right? Open or unlock, I just name it open. You can change that naming convention as well. Sorry for that, but my naming convention is not very sometimes I do this in different months, so I even forget about doing a good naming convention. And for the AC, we require 3, and basically one of them is the first one is when I press this, it's gonna execute the, actually this she said HVAC, not CA. So HVAC auto, and the auto basically means that it's going to determine, it's going to do that determination. If the car is more than 75, then run the Tesla HVAC cool, right? Or run the heat, depending on what it is. Or basically else give me a message that says the temperature is comfortable, so you don't have to do anything about it. Okay, so that's basically what we are doing here with all the different taskers. So today, for this first part, I want to break it into 2 parts. Will be easier. We're gonna do only this here. So open the Tesla app. Those are gonna be easy. The honk, the flashlights, the trunk, the manual refresh, and then unlock and lock the car. Okay, so we're going to get started here with the widget. So not going to go to a lot of things here with a lot of detail. But just to let you know, you can see here that I have my gradient background. Obviously, that is my black gradient background that I have in the back. The first one, the second one after that is the Tesla logo. Obviously, you know what it is. But very quickly, if you click on it and then you do touch, then you can do the launch app. And that is simple to launch whatever app you want. So if you choose that, you can launch the Tesla app or any other app that you want. Very simple. Okay. So the next one is the honk, right? So we're going to take a look at that. And if we look at the white lion, which it might not be necessarily in the same order, but if you look at white lion here, which is the name, and you can get that from the Tesla plugin if you want the variable of your car and get it, so you don't have to write it there. I didn't care about that. I just wrote the name white lion. And again, you see white lion there. When you do touch, you can do a launch shortcut. So if you click on that, then it is a task shortcut. You would choose the shortcut that you have for Tasker, and that will honk the car, right? So that's the way you would do it. And basically, the honking is basically executing a command from the Tesla plugin that it would execute that activity. Next, let's see, we have the beams or the lights flashing. So again, I said that is a circle, so you see there the shape is a circle. And then if you go to paint, basically I put it right there. And if you go to paint, you can see that I set it to be white. It doesn't matter. I'm going to change here the alpha, so you can see the circle there. Actually, let me change it to something more pronounced. So you can see a circle that I put there, right? Then you can do a circle, you can do a square, whatever you want, as long as you do it in that area that is an overlay. And the way you do an overlay is, simply go all the way to transparency, and now you have that overlay. So whatever you click on that circle or that overlay now, then touch again, and then you touch, and then you would do a Tasker shortcut, and that is the one that is called Tesla Flash. So that will go to Tasker and execute that. Okay. Next one will be opening the trunk. It's the same options here, but I'm going to go through that. So Flash, we have, where's the trunk here? Trunk area. So again, the same concept. You can see there the squares, or is a square, in this case it's a rectangle. And if I click on that whole area, then it would do the opening the trunk. So basically the same thing, touch, and then you have the shortcut. It issues that command to the Tesla trunk profile, and it will open that. I'm going to show you all those profiles or tasks in a second. Okay. Then the last one here that we're going to go through is the refresh. And let me see where I can find it. So this is the refresh button. Again, I put an icon there, so you can see the icon is a set icon, is a refresh icon. put whatever you want again if you choose to do a different icon. And then the touch, which is the most important one, is a task shortcut again, and that's going to be the Tesla states MT, which I'm going to show you in a second here. And let's go through, oops, cancel. And let's go to the last two that we have are going to be for your, and these are all going to be the same. I know I'm repeating myself on that, but basically they're all going to be the same. So this is going to be for the lock and unlock. So one thing that I'm doing here that might be a little bit different, so you can see the icon, it says lock open, so I created a formula, and the formula basically is this formula that you see here. You can probably pause the video or something like that and see that formula, but basically it says, we're getting this from Tasker. So if the Tesla lock underscore lock, and that is a variable, that is a KWGT variable that we're sending from Tasker. And I'm going to show you that later. You have to send those variables to Tasker so Tasker can read it. And it says if that variable that is coming from KWGT, it says locked, right? Because that is basically the state that I'm getting from the plugin. And it could be locked or unlocked. So if it's locked, then use the lock outline, and that is the name of the icon of that set that I have. It's called lock outline. And there's another one that's called lock open. So if it's locked, basically the icon is going to be close on the lock position, and if it's open on lock, right, it's going to be on the unlock position. So it's a little bit open, right, the icon. And that's basically what the formula is doing to change that icon. Now this is the part that I said I wish I would know how to do a toggle there, so I can open and close it from pressing the icon and necessarily the text. So if I want to, I did a touch there. So if I want to lock it, or actually open it, I'm sorry. If I want to open it, I click on the icon, and then I can open that. Okay. So that's the shortcut that I have there. So it's a shortcut for Tasker to open that, or open it. Now, this is basically the global switch. And to be honest, I forgot what the switch is for, but I think the switch is going to be switching the icon, if I don't remember that correctly. I do not know that one and what it does. Basically, it switches the toggle on and off. And I think that I know what it is. If it changes that toggle on and off, then that variable Tesla LK for lock, basically that will change also my other variable, which is unlock, the text, or lock, the one that you have on the bottom. So when you use that, basically it's going to change the other one as well. So that's something else that you can do. Instead of doing a refresh and give me a lock, basically it will lock it and it will change that. So cancel here. And let's go back to some of the other items, and the last one, I think that's it for now. Let's go into Tasker and see what this looks like. Okay, so in Tasker, what we're going to do here, it's what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to share this as an app, so you can install it as an app, or all the Taskers, all the tasks and maybe profiles. I don't know if I have profiles, but that I have all together here that you can use. So basically what we're doing here is, let's go through some of the ones that we were talking about here. So open trunk, basically what it's doing, it is doing a Tasker for Texas plugin. The configuration, so if you go there, basically you can see that it's doing a Tasker configuration there just to open the trunk. So it's only doing open and close the trunk, and basically it's doing that specific task. Okay. And then it's going to flash. Flash means that it does like a toast on the bottom, that it will open the trunk and it will just say Tesla's trunks is open, or you can say white line is open, or the trunk is open, whatever you want to say there. But basically that is a messaging that you're going to get on the bottom. Now, the next one, the same thing for flashing the lights. You get that configuration there for the plugin. So it says flash the lights, and you don't have to do much with that. So again, if you click on that, this is where you authenticate. You would have to authenticate with your email address and your car and all that stuff. Don't ask me, if this is secure or not. I mean, I don't know about that. You can do your own research from the app, and the way it does it, whether it has tokens or, you know, whatever it does. I don't know. You can check that out for yourself and test it. Okay. Um, So the next one that I want to talk about here, that is the Tesla states, and this is the most important one probably. So that's Tesla states MT. Again, forgot what I name it for. Um, but basically, it goes to the first thing that I'm doing is the plugging for Tesla, right? And I'm getting all the states, and you can see all the states here. There's a lot of stuff that we get here. So you get the display name, the inside temperature, the outside temperature, the driver temperature, the passenger temperature, and so on. So seat heater. So even if you want to, turn on the seater heats, right? You can do that. And I think I did that one with the one when it heats. I forgot if I did that or not, but we'll check it out in a second. But there's a lot of different things here that you can get either the value of that or execute a command to your Tesla car. So with that being said, I get all the states. And then the first thing that I do is I do a lot of variable sets. And that's basically setting a variable to that state that I'm getting. So Tesla temperature, Tesla doors. And those are later things that I'm going to send to KWGT, right? So custom widget, I'm going to send those variables with that. So Tesla temperature, that will become a, uh, a variable for custom widget. And again, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, or there's a better way of doing it, but this is the way that I do it, and it works for me. So variables said inside temperature is going to go to Tesla temperature. Now lock and unlock, you can see here variable set unlock if lock equals false. In this case, the state that you get from the plugin is false or true. I don't know why they did it like that, but that's the way it is. So if it's false, that means that it's unlocked. So I changed that to unlock, right? And then I change, if it's true, if it's locked, then I change that variable set Tesla doors to lock. So I'm using the same variable, and depending on the state that it is going to say unlock and lock. Then later on, you're going to see that I'm going to send that as a custom widget variable that custom widget can read that. So I do other variable sets here. Sentry, if it's true, set it to on. Then I have another sentry here. If it's true, set it to off. I got the Tesla time. So basically, I'm getting that time, the time that I did this manual refresh. In this case, for the manual refresh. So basically, later you can see the last updated at 4 o'clock, for example. It will give you the time there when you last updated the widget. Variable said a battery. Again, it says here charging state equals disconnected, or if it equals something else. Let's see what it says. If charging state is equal disconnected or stop, that means that I'm gonna do this one right here, right? So I'm gonna say charging or stop. I'm sorry. If it is Tesla battery, then if it's charging, basically that means that my condition charging state equals charging. Then basically I'm going to set that to the name charging. Again, you can use whatever name you want there, charging, or I don't know, anything else that you want to do. Stop or not charging, it's up to you what you want to use, but that's what I use. And then, like I said earlier, all of those variables you're going to send to KWTG, right? Or WGT, sorry. Tesla battery, so that's the last one that I did there. Tesla range, which is somewhere here. This is Tesla range that I'm getting, the basically my mileage range. Tesla temperature, Tesla lock, Tesla sentry, Tesla charge. Okay, and then I don't know much about this, but I found out how to format my timing. So it would read, 4 hours or 4 p.m. And I guess I didn't want to have any digits before the four or something like that. I forgot what I did, but basically I found out the format to do that timing the way I wanted to see it, which is 4:00 p.m. and that was it, right? And I don't know why it doesn't give it to you that way. And I read somewhere that that's the date, the run shell that you can run basically to get that that text the way I wanted it. So the timing or the hour. Don't know much about it, but that's what it is. That's the formula that I have. So I'm running a run shell and I'm running that formula. The last thing is, and you need to have this in this order. So you run the run shell and then you do the KWTG to do the set time. So basically now when I set that time to KWGT, then basically it sends that variable to custom widget so I can use it. And that's it. So basically we run all this, it gets all the states, it sets all the variables, and then custom widget can read all of this information. Let me talk about the profiles for a little bit here. I got two profiles here. The first one I'm going to talk about, it's not related to this widget, but I'll talk a little bit about it. The refresh states. Basically, I did this for another notification that I have. I was sometimes leaving the doors open, and then I didn't know that the doors were open. So what I'm doing here is basically I can go to the profile that says if I'm not connected to Bluetooth on my Tesla. Is basically going to wait 3 minutes. It's going to refresh, and then if any of my doors are open, then basically it's going to send me a notification that my doors are open. And it's not a perfect solution, but it works for me well. So if I am at work and I just go to the elevator or something, and in 3 minutes it would tell me any one of your doors is open, so I can go back and lock them, or I can check my app and see which one it is, and I can go back and lock them or close the doors, right? So that is very good for me, but it's not for the purpose of the widget. Now for the widget, I have the profile for that, and that basically is going to say from 6 a.m. every day, every 30 minutes is going to run until 10 a.m. at night. And obviously you can change that to whatever you want. That's the polling cycle that we're doing all this stuff. Obviously you can refresh it manually, but that is one way of doing it. And that's going to run the Texas States MT, which is the refresh that I do for everything. And everything in the widget would be updated at that time. So every 30 minutes. Now you can change that to whatever you want. You can also do any other task. So maybe you can do, only if I'm at home, do it this way, or only if I'm not at home, then I don't need to be refreshing necessarily to see it. But it all depends how you want to do this, right? There's many options. This works for me. It doesn't use a lot of battery from the car or from my phone. Most of the time I'm at home because I work from home. So I'm okay with that, but it does work really well. But let's say, for example, if you want to do a rule that you want to be when you're outside home because you're not going to be connected to electricity all the time or something like that, then you might want to do it every hour. So you can choose to do another profile that way. So many options that you have here. It's just a few that you can do here. So later on, I'm going to talk about on a part 2 how to do the AC part and some of the configurations that we have and some of the profiles that I have as well, because the profiles are based on states and how often do we want to pull the data on the car. But that's going to be in part 2. So hopefully this was beneficial to you. Let me know if you have any questions on the comments, and then later I can also either post some answers on the comments, or maybe I can do another video of recapping some of this information.